Director of Campaigns, Agency Media, and keynote speaker this evening, Alex Johnson.
Yeah. Good boy, Alex.
Hello. That's my favorite song, actually, so I'm glad you played it. And I'm very sweaty, so I'm glad I'm going last, so no one else has to hold this mic after me. Director of Campaigns, that's me. So before we actually jump into going into what we did for the campaign for your workspace, I want to actually just break down a little bit about what digital marketing is and how we at Agency take data and strategy to create content and then make sure that that content gets distributed in front of the proper people who we want to see it and at the time and place that they're online. So, what does a digital marketing funnel look like? Looks just like this traditional sales funnel. Unaware, become a lead, then turn into a prospect, and hopefully a customer, and then eventually a fan if you do your job right. How we break this down at Agency when we're doing a digital marketing funnel is we start with brand awareness. So either the people online are not aware of what your company does or who your brand is or what your services or products are. So we want to go out there and make sure we start with that. We want to make it kind of simple and straightforward. If you're selling vanilla ice cream, you don't really need to do too much to tell people what that is. We all kind of know what vanilla ice cream is, so you can make something very simple and sweet, and it's going to go a long way. But if you are offering something that's a little bit more complicated, then you probably will need to have a longer piece of content. So it's not like there's a one shoe fits all in your brand awareness content, but you just need to make sure that you're getting your point across about what it is you're selling and why you're better than your competition if it's a pretty heavily competitive environment. The other thing that we're doing in the brand awareness stage, though, and this goes to digital marketing specifically, is we're reaching out to different audiences that we are able to select from the platforms, from the advertising platforms. So everyone who's on Facebook or Instagram or basically any other app or platform out there, you have signed up to allow yourself to be tracked. So I can get more into remarketing later, but basically, and audiences later, but basically you're able to, through your actions and interests and demographics, you're put into different audiences online, and then we can select you through those audiences and then make market towards you. So that's kind of the first step, is we want to share your brand or your services with people who we feel are actually going to be interested in what it is that you're offering. And once we start to discover what those audiences are, we move down to the education stage. This is kind of where we're determining who our lowest hanging fruit is, our high engagement audiences, who we're going to determine we should focus on first. And then we're not going to get rid of our low engagement audiences, we're just going to not focus on them right away. So throughout this stage, we're looking at the audiences coming in, determining who's showing us the best results in terms of engagement or actual, whatever our desired action is. And that can be determined through if they visit your landing page or a specific landing page on your website, if they watch over 50% of a video or 90% of a video, or if they just simply like your content. We're able to decide then who we want to be marketing to next. And now they come into what we call our remarketing funnel, and that's our consideration stage. So once you have gone out to your source audiences, you start bringing people into your website or to your Facebook profile, in this instance. You will be able to start to create your own kind of remarketing audiences. So they come from, say, 6 different source audiences, but they all visit a specific landing page on your website, red shoes or blue shoes. We want to make sure that they get the correct content, so we will service to people who visited, regardless of where they came from, who visited your red shoes page with red shoe content and blue shoe page with blue shoe content. You don't want to screw that up. People with red shoes don't want blue shoes. So what we're also doing, though, is once we start to separate these people into knowing what they're interested in, what service or product or offering it is, we start with kind of this can spider web into a million different options, but basically there's the reptilian brain, the emotional brain, and the logical brain. So the reptilian brain is really looking for, well, like a scare tactic almost, like 50% off, only 10 left. Just the sale just this weekend. You don't want to miss out. Okay, I better buy that. The emotional brain is looking for something more sentimental, a child typically, or grandma or something like that, and that draws you into the brand. And that's for me anyways. And the logical brain is, you just want the facts. Don't put any bows on it. Just tell me what's good, and I'll make my decision based off that. So each audience can have a different reaction to different pieces of content, and we want to be able to know exactly what it is they're interested in. So by doing it this way, where we bring our audiences in and then start deciding what content it is that they're going to react to most, bringing them down to our desired action where they actually commit the sale or the lead or whatever it is we're asking them to do. Perhaps that needs a bit of an upsell. But then once we've made that sale and we've got a strong funnel, what are we going to do with those people? And we believe in a strong follow-up system where, yes, maybe it's a very long sales cycle and we're not going to get a repeat customer out of them specifically right now, but 6 degrees of separation, or perhaps their uncle or aunt or someone, a friend or family member, is looking for something that we can offer them. We want to make sure that we're on the tip of their tongue when someone's asking for advice. Oh yeah, use these guys, they're great. And it happens a lot. So moving into the actual campaign, this is just numbers from February 1st to April 18th. We did over 132 leads, $38 per website lead. If those actually even 5% turn into actual lease sales, we're doing really good for our campaign. And we had a few pieces of content, but I just want to focus on these 3 specifically. The first piece here did really well for engagement. It was our first piece of content that came out. I personally have my doubts, but I've learned to not trust myself. And it was Andrew driving around on a bicycle, giving Dan a tour of the skeleton of the building, basically. It actually did super well. People were talking about it, sharing. The reaction was great. I bit my tongue, and I'm glad I didn't say anything to anyone. And it actually helped us to really discover our audiences, who we should focus on. So we would release the second piece of content in the middle here. This one was more of a straightforward Andrew speaking to the camera about his why, about why he wanted to build the Workspace building. And it did really well for leads. It also had some straight up highlights as well, companion with it. So it definitely did well in accomplishing what we wanted it to do. But as our leads started to taper off, we needed a booster video. So we created this helicopter tour of your Workspace, and it was absolutely dangerous, and we should have done it, but we did it anyways. And it did really well. It actually boosted our numbers significantly, and so we're moving into the next video at this point in time. So each of those had a different reaction, but our goal was leads. We wanted leads, but this is some fallout stats, which I think are really cool, because we weren't looking to reach 120,000 plus specifically targeted individuals, but we were able to, and we had them see our content over 425,000 times, and 5,000 of those people came to our website, and we had over 275,000 video plays. I mean, you can read the stats. I'm just reading them for you. It was really successful, and if this was just what we were looking to do, I'd be mildly happy with it. But the fact that this was just like the fallout of our campaign is really, really excellent. And these are targeted people. It's not just a blanket necessarily where we're just reaching as many people and trying to get views and stats so we can show you and say, look how good we're doing. This is specifically targeted individuals within the audience groups that we were looking to market to. So Facebook audiences, it's creepy, I know, but just get used to it. You're being tracked right now in this room, okay? Anyone who signs up to any platform or any app, in this case it's Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, they all share a database, and any information you personally input, your age, gender, location, etc., Your interests and your behaviors are determined by your activities online. So perhaps you are just about to have a baby. Well, Facebook knows that. Maybe you're looking for a new home. Well, Facebook knows that too. So, and if you put in your age, of course it knows your age, but you can lie about that. So how it works is Facebook creates its own audiences based off of the data that it collects from you, and then you're able to select those. So these are just some of the audience groups I wanted to highlight that we were able to put together when we were first trying to search who it is we're going to market to. Business personalities like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, I'm sure lots of people are probably in that group. Millennial entrepreneurs, small business owners, startups. And you can also just do kind of a blanket radius around the area. So the local area, just the 5-mile radius around the building, as well as the entire lower mainland. And these audiences all have different results, of course. Want to get to them? Me too. Okay. I grayed out ones that weren't really interesting, but something that's interesting to see is if we weren't following this funnel from advertisement to conversion, in this case a lead, we would have focused on our lower mainland audience because it's 30 cents per landing page view. That just means someone clicked the ad, came and looked at our landing page, cost us 30 cents a person to do that. Look down here at startups, it's $5 per landing page view. I would have shut that off the first day and been so angry at that audience. But the goal was leads. So when we look at how many leads we're getting from these audiences at the cost, that's the true tail. So had we shut off all these other audiences and just went with lower mainland because it was providing the most traffic, we would have been shooting ourselves in the foot. When you look at how well the startup audiences does and the business personality audience does, just much cheaper. And exponentially goes down? I don't know. It tapers down the cost per lead. Remarketing, though, is another audience that we'll get into next. Remarketing works when, and I kind of went over it earlier, but I'll just reiterate anyway. Someone visits your webpage or watches a video or likes your Facebook page, and they get entered into your remarketing opportunity audience, I guess. And you can segment that to, like I said, blue shoes, red shoes, chocolate cake, vanilla cake. I know there's a lot of bakers in here tonight. And you can make sure that they get specific content for what they're actually interested in instead of sending them stuff that's just kind of, hey, remember us? You can get really specific to what they were interested in. You don't necessarily know their name or their phone number, but Facebook does, and so it does it for you. And lookalike audiences are something else. So there's those points I talked about, 50% of a video, coming to a specific landing page. Maybe you have an online store, so people who go through your sales funnel and actually make a purchase or submit a lead. Those would be your strongest audiences that you want to kind of find more people of. And you can create custom audiences on Facebook and Instagram and other platforms as well by doing what this diagram kind of shows. And I'll just tell you what this diagram shows if you're not sure. That's not a locker, that's actually different customers. And you can say, okay, we have now over 100 people from all of these different source audiences, and we want to know, or we want to find more people like this. And they all come from different audiences that Facebook sets up and says, these are the ones that you can pick from. Well, we want to create our own. So we can ask Facebook, hey, all of these people who made this purchase or submitted this lead, this action that we asked you to find us more people who share the top interests, similarities, etc., of those people who committed that action. So now you can really kind of refine your funnel, and instead of having to use audiences that Facebook predetermines for you, you can actually make your own custom audiences and really start to refine that funnel. Oh, and that's it. Thanks, y'all. And remember to always swipe up. Okay.
Thank you.